Okay, so we're doing a little check here and see how this goes. Graphing the equation for our warm-up, 2x plus 3y equals 9. So let's put this in slope-intercept form. So let's subtract 2x from both sides. And we get 3y equals negative 2x plus 9. Divide everything by 3. Y equals negative 2/3 x plus 3. Our y-intercept is 3. Our slope is down 2, right 3. Down 2 and right 3. Down 2 and right 3. We can go up 2 and left 3. That's enough points. Draw our line. And there's our line. Today's lesson 35, rating linear equations, slope-intercept form, point-slope form, and standard form. So these are our equations. We've got slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Standard form, ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are integers. And what's that mean? They're numbers. They're like 5 and 3 and negative 2. Now we'd like for 2 of them to be positive when we set this up. So whichever 2, we'd like 2 of them to be positive. We don't want numbers like 3.5, although we can have numbers like 3.5. We'd like to not have fractions. So no fractions. Point slope form, y minus y1 equals m times the quantity x minus x1. And so that's when we're given a point and a slope. And we'll go about that for more often. So a point, which would be x comma y, or in this case x1 and y1, and a slope m. So our first example, write an equation of the line in slope-intercept form that passes through the point and has the given slope. So this is slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. And so we're going to say, well, pass through that point. So let's just plug this in. We can say we've got, y and x, so instead of y I'm going to write 4. M is negative 2/3, x is 3, and I don't know what b is. So we need to solve this. When I multiply, those 3's cancel out, and so I'm left with negative 2. So 4 equals negative 2 plus b. We can add 2 to both sides, and we get b equals 6. If I know what b is, and I know what my slope is, I can write my equation. Y equals negative 2/3 x plus 6. So that's slope-intercept form. So my first step is to find b, and then I plug b into my slope-intercept form. You try, so take a second for you guys to try this. Goes through 3, negative 2, and has a slope of negative 5/7. So why don't you pause this and then we'll go ahead. Now if I'm gonna do this, we're gonna try it again. Again, this is x and y, so y equals mx plus b, and we're gonna say y is negative 2 equals m negative 5/7 times x, which is 3, plus b, which we need to solve for. So a little side problem, what's negative 5/7 times 3? Well, I don't think I can simplify, so that's negative 15/7. Ooh, this is kind of going to be ugly a little bit. So negative 2 equals negative 15/7 plus b. Now what is negative 15/7? Negative 15/7 is equal to negative 2 and what? 7 goes into 15 twice with 1 left over, so 2 and 1/7. So really we're going to add 2 and 1/7 to both sides. Add 2 and 1/7 to both sides, and so -2 plus 2 and 1/7 leaves us with 1/7. Now that it looks a little nicer. So we found b is 1/7. So y equals -5/7, taking our original slope, x plus, and our y-intercept we found was 1/7. Write a linear equation in point-slope form, slope-intercept form, and standard form given 2 points. So when I'm given 2 points, I can always find my slope. We can always find change in y over change in x. So if I go 3 to 2, that's going down 1, and -7 to 1, that's going up 8, so my slope is -1/8. That equals m. So first let's put it in point-slope form. So point-slope form was y minus y sub 1 equals m times the quantity x minus x sub 1. And so we're going to say y minus, and then we'll just use any one of these points. Now, I'm going to use my positive points whenever possible because it makes it look cleaner. You could use negative points, but we'll do the positive one. So y minus 2 equals m -1/8 times the quantity x minus, what was the x value over here? X and y, x minus 1. Okay, if I were to use this other value, or the other point, -7/3, it would be the same thing. Y minus 3, because that's my y value, equals -1/8 times x minus, and then when we put in a -7, it makes it a +7, because 2 negatives make a plus. So that's using the first point, and that one's using the second point. So that's point-slope form. Slope-intercept form. So let's just practice going from point-slope form into slope-intercept form. So let's do, we could practice both of them here. So what am I going to need to do? Let's distribute. So we're going to say y minus 2 equals -1/8 x plus 1/8, and now we're going to add 2 and add 2, and we get y equals -1/8 x plus, and now 1/8 and 2 is how many eighths? Little side problem here. 1/8 plus 2 would be 16 eighths. So what's that make? 17 eighths. So plus 17 eighths, and that's kind of messy, but that's slope-intercept form. Now when I do it with this other equation, I'll get the same exact slope-intercept form. Let's make sure that we can do it right. So we're going to multiply y minus 3 equals -1/8 x minus 7/8, because that's what -1/8 times 7 is, -7/8. And now we're going to add 3, and I get y equals, little side problem, 3, well 3 is how many eighths? Well, 24 divided by 8 would be 3, so 24 eighths is equal to 3, and subtract 7 eighths. 24 minus 7 is, what is that, 17 divided by 8, so 17 eighths, and so that's what that equals, 17 eighths. That's what we got before. Good. So -1/8 x plus 17 eighths. So that's slope-intercept form. That was slope-intercept form, and then we want standard form. So now let's go from slope-intercept form to standard form, and all that means is we want to get rid of our fraction. So what's going to get rid of that fraction? If we multiplied this whole equation by the denominator, good. So this becomes 8y equals, the 8 cancels out, so negative x plus 17. Now, what do we want it to be in standard form? We want x and y on the same side, so I'm going to add x to both sides, and we get x plus 8y equals 17, and that's standard form.
This fear is true to its roots. Root only in golden
You try, write a linear equation in point slope form, slope intercept form, and standard form given the 2 points. So let's let you guys try that. Hit pause and try it. Alright, so now we'll do it. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to find the slope. M equals, so change in y. 6 to go to 3 is down 3. Negative 6 to go to 3 is going to go up 9. So that's negative 1/3 is my slope. So now let's put it in point slope form. I'm just going to do it once, so we're going to use the positive ones. Y minus y1 equals m times the quantity x minus x1. So y minus, what's my y value? 3, right? x1, y1 over here equals slope negative 1/3 times the quantity x minus 3. So this is point slope form right here. Now we're going to go from point slope form to slope intercept form. So we're going to distribute this. Y minus 3 equals negative 1/3 x. 1/3 times 3, negative 1/3 times 3. Those 3's are going to cancel, so it gives me negative 1, but 2 negatives make a positive because it's times negative 3, so it's positive 1. And now we'll add 3 to both sides, and we get y equals negative 1/3 x plus 4. That's slope intercept form. So now we want to go to standard form. So here's our slope intercept form. Y equals negative 1/3 x plus 4. And now what are we going to do to get rid of the fraction? We're going to multiply the entire thing by the denominator by 3. So 3 times y, 3 and 3. And that's going to give us 3y equals negative x plus 12. Add x to both sides, and x plus 3y equals 12. And here's standard form. So we've got our 3 forms there. And our homework is homework